I think manufacturers should focus on what they can do best, and that is hardware. That is the car itself. Focus on producing luxurious, cool cars. Because creating car software is very difficult. It's a very specialized thing. DIMO can tackle that problem of creating software for these car companies.
Thanks for being here with us today. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, what brought you into the auto space?
I studied IT in a German car hub, so to say. And afterwards, I started my own company related to car data and mobility data. So our company is doing IT consulting and IT solutions in general, with a heavy focus right now on mobility and vehicle data.
Why is an open connectivity platform better than what exists today?
The most important part about that is accessibility to new developers, to new talented people, to attract talents all around the world without having a barrier like paying money or needing exhaustive information about that one single OEM. Who would specialize themselves in one single OEM? I mean, that doesn't really make any sense. So there should be a possibility to leverage more talent for all of the OEMs. And I think that is something you can achieve by using an open connectivity platform.
With your experience in the mobility industry, I imagine you have some very good perspectives on what kind of services can be built. With the DIMO open mobility platform, what kind of applications for the data do you see being possible?
Imagine having the DIMO device giving you probably a 20 or 30% discount on your yearly insurance because you are driving responsible. A lot of possible use cases for insurance companies to use that DIMO data. A parent trying to teach their kids driving with the data that they gather. Let's say something like a leasing app. Where you could get some benefits or a lesser leasing rate, for example, by sharing the data. Maybe even banks in general, being interested in the data. So which car are you buying and how are you using it? Being able to dynamically give incentives. Delivery and logistics companies would benefit a lot by the data. The possibility to know when and how many cars should be in a city. Even smaller devices, not only cars, but also scooters or car sharing. Let's say you want to create some sort of car sharing between your friends. Let's say you are 10 people and want to have access to a car that you are just keeping somewhere in the city. I could imagine that to be a use case too, like mini car sharing services too. So there are a lot of different companies and sectors that would be interested in DIMO data. I can't imagine any company not being willing to use that data if they had it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. There's almost this new segment forming. We've heard for so long the B2B and B2C, but with these latest technologies and with the functionality that DIMO provides, there's almost a new market that I think can form, which is C2C, um,
Yes, exactly.
which hasn't existed before. And it, in terms of the, kind of these customer to customer use cases, I know you previously mentioned car sharing. What else do you think could be done or maybe even replaced or revolutionized by, with this enablement of to users who own all of their data and the kind of things the ways that they can transact now with their car as opposed to before?
I can imagine so many use cases with car sharing itself. I think that itself is already a huge task. What I used to do during university time was an app to share gardening tools within a street or a neighborhood. Imagine that with car sharing. Well, let's say a neighborhood, 14 people share 4 cars. You would have access to the data. You would have access to the car itself through the DIMO app. Let's say some sort of lock feature where you can unlock and lock the car. Maybe some sort of timetable where you can reserve that car.
I think there's clear benefits for DIMO, not just for the customer, right? So what problems do you think DIMO can solve for manufacturers?
I think manufacturers, even the biggest ones out there, should focus on what they can do best, and that is hardware. that is the car itself. Focus on producing and creating luxurious, cool cars. One of the main pain points every OEM has, despite maybe one or two, is creating software. Because creating car software is very difficult and a very cost-intensive thing. As we already spoke of, creating software for cars is a very specialized thing. So you would need developers for especially the one or the other OEM. And by leveraging the DIMO ecosystem, I think DIMO can tackle that problem of creating software for these car companies, leveraging the data that DIMO has in a big data style, improving their cars by having lots of different data of different OEMs, not just from themselves.
Do you think there is ways that this data visibility into the performance of these cars could help the OEMs solve their, let's say, their existing problems that they already have today around just keeping their cars safe and on the road?
I mean, right now, as of today, they are gathering data from their own cars already, right? But even an OEM cannot use every data that is collected by a car. So even if an OEM wants data from their own car, they cannot easily access it. And by leveraging the DIMO device, by opting in by the customer to resell this data and make it usable for the OEM, I think that is a great deal for the OEMs themselves, because they don't only want to have their competitors' data, they also want 100% of their own data, which is very valuable to them.
There's an interesting customer we talked to several months ago who has a very large budget to install charging stations across the nation. And today they're not even able to find out where to install them. They take generic guesses. There needs to be a way for car owners, for us as a society, to share that data for a good use case that benefits us all, like where should the chargers go. And that's something that is just not happening today outside of a very few countries around the globe. And I'm very excited for DIMO to enable this functionality.